Okay guys, so what are the topics we discuss today?
Level and stress level.
Yeah, stress level. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the meaning first. Okay, forces means the sound pressure that occurs in syllable. In vocabulary, we need to emphasize a syllable. In a sense, we have to read certain syllables in a high and low tone compared to the other syllables.
Like the sound pressure that occurs in the words educate and education, right? Like the words educate, we have 3 syllables. The stress occurs on the first syllable. Like educate, the syllables in the stress is on the first, the word educate. And then the word education, the stress occurs on the third syllable in education.
Okay, keep in mind that stressing occurs only in words that consisting of 2 or more syllables. And consider that all of the following example of the words. For example, from 2 syllables is study. The first stress is on the first syllable, and then again, the first stress is on the first syllable.
Other than 2 syllables, we have 3 syllables and 4 syllables. I have 3 examples of 3 syllables. There is positive, and there is abandon, and there is understand. And the 4 syllables, I have 4 examples. There is necessary, and there is ability, and macaroni, also misunderstand.
And don't forget about the type of word stress. Stress is divided into 2, namely primary and secondary stress. The primary stress is the strongest stress in the word and is marked with an apostrophe above. For the example, ability and positive.
While the secondary stress is weak stress, with quotation mark below. Example, understand and education. The syllables in the understand is E. Understand in education is called secondary stress, while the syllable is 10 and A for the education is the main stress.
And in stress syllables, there is a word stress rule so that you can pronounce the vocab correctly. And the first rule is stress occurs only on vowels. For example, reading. Reading gets 2 syllables, and the stress syllables is on re. And the second example is positive. There is 3 syllables, and the stress syllables in po. And the second rule is stress only occurs in words that consist of 2 or more syllables. For example, jumper. Stress occurs on the first syllables.
Okay, and the last is one word has 1 primary stress. One word cannot have 2 or more primary stress, but if there is, it must be composed of 2 words. Example, understand. And the second example is positive. In the 2 example of words above, each has only 1 primary stress.
However, there are other ways you can recognize stress, namely by paying attention to the special characteristics of English vocabulary. And for certain words or vocabs, we can guess the position of the stress without having to look up the dictionary. This is what is called the stress key. that we need to know. There are several stress rules on a word, especially when associated with a suffix. In general, nouns and adjectives have stress at the beginning of the syllables. 1. Water. 2. Mother. 3. Crazy. And last one, ugly. Prefix and suffix need not to be stressed in English, but the following suffix actually needs to be emphasized.
Okay, so the first example is double E, just like employ, and pay. And the second example is ASA. The verbs is Burmese and Vietnamese. And the last is EER, just like engineer or volunteer. And if a word ends with tion or shin, it can be ascertained that the sound pressure lies on the previous syllables. The example for shin is communication, proclamation, reputation. And the example of shin is vision, television, and commission. And by knowing this stress key, you can more easily guess how to sound the vocabulary correctly.
That's enough from us.
Yes, I think now I can understand about stress level.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.